goal. This result means that Real Madrid are now a point behind Barcelona, and it's a third straight draw in La Liga, Craig, and didn't really deserve much more.
Nothing to write home about, is it, at the moment? You know, we discussed it at half-time briefly. I mean, there's no real... When you watch Real Madrid now from last season, apart from Mbappe sharper and scoring more goals and is much more looking like his old self, the rest of it is kind of the same, isn't it? It's you know, Maka touched on it in the commentary with Ian Dark. You know, they allow teams in the bottom half of La Liga to play against them. They don't press the ball, which we all thought Alonso coming in, there were going to be a higher tempo without the ball. We haven't seen that. Now, whether he wants that, and he's figured out that he can't get, you know, Vinicius Jr. and others to go and do what he wants, and he's thought, well, why fight it, and I'll just go the other way. But it is allowing, we've seen the 3 draws, Vallecano away, who are a good side, Elche, who are recently promoted, but they're a good side, and now Girona, who 2 years ago were great, but the third bottom of the league. And for a big chunk of this game, particularly the first 45 minutes, again, you wouldn't have known if you just walked in and said, which team's Real Madrid? Because they're giving everybody an opportunity to play against them, and a little bit like Man City in a sense. What they have got at the moment is a world-class goalkeeper. And we're seeing, you know, Man City giving up opportunities and Donnarumma pulling off big saves. And we saw it again here with Courtois. OK, it wasn't the strongest finish when the lad was through, but he's still got a big hand to it. So yeah, I mean, we talk about Barcelona. What about Hansi Flick's issues? What about the defence? But at least they've got something about them, really got something about them going forward. Have you said to me, are Real Madrid going to put a run together now? Is going to second half of the season going to be really strong? I would be like, I don't know. I just don't know. I mean, and once again, there's nothing in this performance that, as if I was a Real Madrid fan, that got me excited. Really nothing. Not
very convincing. We had Archie in top pitch side for us today with Luis Garcia and Sid Lowe at Montilivi. To what Craig's saying, guys, just Real Madrid aren't convincing anyone at the moment, and now it's cost them these 3 straight draws.
It has, Kay, and given in all competitions, it felt like they took a step forward against Olympiacos. Luis, this was 2 steps back. What stood out for you?
No, I think that today it was about seeing that the Real Madrid wanted to show a different side. We've seen it lately struggling to get a result, but also that also in the displays. Not today we saw, and Craig is totally right. There is no idea. You don't see a Real Madrid that you know what they're gonna do. That you know that Barcelona has got the high line. It could be good, it could be bad. They got that rhythm on the game, right? that speed on the ball. Those 3 players up front, that they know those kind of movements. There is an idea. There are a lot of problems about that, but at least you know what you're going to face. Against this Real Madrid side, it's all about what Kylian Mbappe is going to do. Today, he was the first one in the second half who start looking sharper, trying to find the ball, trying to beat players on 1v1. Vinicius Jr. kind of start asking for the ball a little bit more, looking to break down. He found that penalty. But overall, I think that Real Madrid today wasted 45 minutes because there was no intensity, no anything that stood out from me from the first 45. In the second one is when you see that they're going for it. The determination was there. You could see more urgency, and then you start creating chances. But when you waste so much time, I think that Girona did a fantastic job. They managed how to handle. They start having the ball. They start slowing down the game, and in the end, they got a point that for Girona was very important. For Real Madrid, really put in trouble not only to what Xabi is trying to create, and also the league. Do you see this Real Madrid changing from what we've seen today to a totally different version of Real Madrid? I don't think so right now.
Sid.
Right, let's pick up on what Luis said there. That idea of, do you see them changing totally? In a way, I think part of the problem is that you watch this Real Madrid team and you think the only change is a total change. The only thing that can be different now is for it to be completely different. Yeah. Olympiacos basically said, here you go, here's all the space in the world, go into it. And no one else has done that. And so against no one else has Vinicius and Mbappe being able to play the way they play in midweek. And it wasn't because Madrid suddenly got it right, it was because they were offered such an obvious solution.
The lack of cohesion was really stunning to me, and to be honest, the standout moment for me of that first half was right in front of us when we heard the slap of Kylian Mbappe's thigh of, guys, I've been signalling for a good 10 seconds, I'm here, and you would think he is the focal point. Everything is going through him and is working right now, and yet these players don't seem to be on the same page.
In their defence, in that particular moment, and as you said, it was right in front of us, so for the viewers at home who don't know where we were, on this touchline, so it was on the right-hand side. When Mbappe wants the ball and you give it to him is when Mbappe is running through the middle or cutting in from the left. To be honest, on the right-hand side of the pitch, now I'm not saying Mbappe is a bad player on the right side of the pitch, but it's not where he does you the most damage. So I can understand why in that particular instance they turned and went back the other way, but I think it was indicative of a sense of a lack of clarity about what they want to do with the ball, I think.
That is a third game in a row in La Liga that Real Madrid have failed to win. Their next game is on the road as well, Kay, away to Athletic in the week. And that looks pretty tricky right now for them. Back to you.
Thank you so much, guys. I'll be hoping to get back to the Bernabeu as soon as possible. Just want to go back.
Or maybe not.
Or maybe not, exactly. Because the home fans will let them know exactly what they think there. Let's get back to... I want to get back to that Rodrigo moment. You said you were OK with the referee's decision on it.
I don't think there was look, I'm not denying there was contact, but...
I'm sorry. If I'm Real Madrid, I'm not a happy camper. To me, that's a penalty kick.
Who's the leader in this Real Madrid team right now?
Mbappe. And he's not really a leader per se, is he? He's not a shouter or, you know, a midfield enforcer. He's leading by what he's doing in front of goal.
He said, get me the ball and I'll show you how to do it.
But that's the problem. It becomes one-dimensional when it's the Kylian Mbappe show. Now, they have other players that should be able to step up, and we saw a little bit with Vinicius, particularly in the second half. But we didn't see a lot of Bellingham. So many issues they're dealing with in terms of the defences and the midfield and Barcelona's high line that the guys mentioned and the reliance here on Kylian Mbappe. Is it a season for one of these others from the top four to step up and shake up the big two? Because to me at the moment, and there's a big question whether certainly Villarreal have the squad to go and do it. We know Atleti have the squad. Whether the manager puts the brakes on remains to be seen. But there would be nothing at all from Barcelona and Real Madrid that would frighten me. And I think we're seeing that in results. We saw, the lads mentioned Olympiacos. I mean, it was 4-3. It wasn't like they romped Olympiacos by 5 goals. And Barcelona go to Chelsea, who are a good side, but they're not the top side in England at the moment, and get absolutely walloped. 3-0. Could have been, they were down to 10 men. Araujo gets sent off. But it was a non-contest, even when it was 11v11. So the top two in Spain at the moment, I think would be sending a message to the others, certainly the two closest rivals, and saying, hey, there's a championship here to be gotten this year, because neither of the two of these are any great shakes, if we've been honest about it.
Now, as you know, it's a third straight draw for Real Madrid. And Sid Lowe, you know very well usually how this Spanish media works, particularly the Madrid press. It's going to be interesting to see what their narrative is for this Real Madrid game tomorrow. What would you suggest it might be?
Well, we've seen a narrative kind of fluctuate over the last 10 days or so, and I think this is one of the really interesting things about it. And as you know, Kay, what happens in Spain is that you don't just purely get a narrative that's only about the media, and I think this is a really important point to make. So yesterday in the press conference, Xabi Alonso said, despite all the noise, despite all the things that have been said, despite the people who want it to go badly, we're okay and we're united. Now, of course, what Xabi knows is that the noise doesn't happen entirely in a vacuum. Now, there's no doubt about it, and I'm not going to deny it, the media runs with things, and we get excited, and we make more of things than sometimes is there. Certainly there are elements of the Madrid media that do that, but it also comes from the things that are being told to those media, the things that have been said from the inside. And so you say, okay, how is this going to be analysed? It will be analysed again in terms of, are the players in Xabi Alonso on the same page? It will be analysed again in terms of what we're talking about. And by the way, it's entirely legitimate to analyse this through what's the identity? What are they trying to do? What's happening here? And of course, because it's Real Madrid, and a bit like Bayern Munich, and me and Archie were talking about this during the game, they're a team that's expected to win every game. Don't win 1, it's a problem. Don't win 2, could this be a crisis? Don't win 3, it is a crisis. Now, and I think off the back of midweek, when there was that sense of it got fixed sort of, because Vinicius and Mbappe played badly, but as Craig's rightly pointed out, They conceded 3 times in Athens. And so I think the analysis will be, again, that sense that this isn't just a game. It's not even just 3 games. It's a deeper problem, and it's a problem of not really knowing who Real Madrid are, I think.
Can I just pick up on a point regarding identity? Because it makes me think about all the times I spoke to Xabi Alonso and was listening to him at Bayer Leverkusen. And one of the most interesting things he said to me was that each pass has a message with it.
Yeah.
And if I'm looking at these players, and I'm thinking also about what you've said about him not getting the number 5 that he wanted in the summer.
Which he absolutely didn't, by the way. Absolutely did not.
That I'm not seeing a player who I think Xabi Alonso sees himself embodied by in this team. And that's a real problem because particularly if you are wanting your team to be a bit more patient and control the game, Luis, then you need that kind of engine and motor, but most importantly, an architect who is giving you that flow, and they really missed that.
Yeah, that Zubimendi is long gone. It's a player that I think that everybody was talking about, and he's doing such a great job at Arsenal. And it was that kind of moment, and Xabi Alonso arrived to this team to try to change the lyrics. Last year and the year before, they were winning, they're getting their results, but you couldn't see a Real Madrid with an identity. And I think that's why Xabi Alonso arrived to the Real Madrid side. Yes, he doesn't have that kind of player, and he's trying to find something into the middle, because today, once again, we saw a totally different midfield also with Tchouaméni, with Arda Güler. Arda Güler was replaced quick after half-time. So that shows that the idea into the center of the park is not there. It's not something, he's not enjoying or he's not liking what is happening there into the middle. But there are some more things that you can see when the changes are happening, because Carreras on the left side, he was not there today. It was Fran Garcia, the other day was on the wide area. So there is a lot of changes, not only rotation because you need to rest player, but also players arriving in different positions. We saw Rodrigo today on the right side, the other day was on the left side. So you could see that he's trying to things, but that the things are not working. And I'm not sure how long Real Madrid as a club can manage those kind of situations, because we don't see something that is changing from what we saw already last year.
There's another dimension to that, which is this is cultural. It's not just about style, it's about culture. It's about what this club does culturally as a football club, and what Xabi Alonso is trying to do, which is counter-cultural to the way Real Madrid have been for many, many years.
Sid, Luis, thank you very much indeed. Kay, back to you.
Thanks,
Another fruitless
Archie.
night for Real Madrid in La Liga.
Counter-cultural.
No.
Oh, my teeth nearly fell out.
My burning question, though, guys, is what happened with the Girona dog? Did you get to pet it?
Oh,
Did we get to?
did we? I'm so pleased. This is the best moment of the night. Never mind the goals. Never mind a brilliant performance, by the way, from Arnau Martinez. The performance from Kanya was the best we've seen.
It looks like it wants nothing
That's the
to
happiest
do
I
with
saw
any-
Sid all night.
Yeah.
To be fair, she looks the brightest.
Hey, come on, Stevie. Said it was the best analysis we've seen all day. Was from the dog.
Lovely stuff. Thank you so much, guys. We'll let you go and get warm. It looks like it was a cold night in Girona tonight, and there'll be some cold reaction to another draw for Real Madrid. Can Barcelona put even more distance between themselves and the Madridistas when they take on their bitter city rivals Atleti on Tuesday, 3 p.m. Eastern for kickoff? Our coverage will begin at 2:30 with all the build-up to that game.
Un poco de puntería con las ocasiones que hemos podido realizar para poder llevarnos los 3 puntos y bueno, pues el no ganar. Pero bueno, estamos ahí, está todo muy igualado, esto es muy largo y hay que seguir. Bueno, nos ha faltado completar más minutos de buen fútbol, de fútbol ofensivo, de ser dominantes. Sí que en la segunda parte lo hemos hecho mucho más y eso es lo que queremos, ¿no? ¿Por qué no lo conseguimos? Es lo que tenemos que analizar, que mirar e intentar desde el inicio poder hacerlo, o incluso si lo hacemos la primera parte, en la segunda parte darle continuidad, ¿no? Yo creo que lo dije el otro día en la rueda de prensa y hoy se repite un poco.
We need to do it from the start. It just goes back to that whole point, Craig, about this intensity that we've been expecting to see from Xabi Alonso's Real Madrid that we're not seeing.
No, and how much of it is him on the training field trying to drill this into players, or goes back to what Sid Lowe was talking about when we covered the post-game, that it's cultural at Real Madrid. And certainly under Ancelotti, it was a more relaxed, allow the other teams to have the ball, and they would wait and pounce and do something special. And we've always felt that he wants to do it, Alonso, that as a different way, But then you've got to get that in the heads of some of these players. You know, you're talking about asking Mbappe, who's been great this year again, but asking Vinicius Junior to go and press and close down when 7 months ago, one of the great managers of this generation was having to kick him up the backside to run about. So I think the difficulty is Alonso coming in and trying to impress the things that he impressed on his Bayer Leverkusen players, on the big egos. And I think that's the difficult part of it.
The biggest surprise for me is I understand the difficulties he might have in terms of the pressing with Mbappe and Vinny. And I figured that would be tough. But I'm shocked. They've kind of reverted to the old Real Madrid where it's just get Mbappe the ball or get it to Vinny and they'll do something. Or maybe Bellingham will do something. That's not what we expected from Xabi Alonso. We expected some fluid play and some rhythm and some good movement and, you know, passes, little 1-2s in and around the field. There's none of that. It just looks like they're relying on people that have got ability to dig them out a hole. And they're not able to dig deep enough right now.
No, it's 3 straight away games for Real Madrid where they failed to take all 3 points, and they are on the road again midweek up in Bilbao against Athletic Club. Our coverage will begin at 12:30 p.m. Eastern, kick-off at 1.
Probably doesn't get a shout and tries to head it.
And so it would finish 1-1 in this game, the biggest game of the weekend in the Premier League. Frank Leboeuf was watching it. This is what it does mean, because Chelsea knew that it could have moved to within 3 points of the Premier League leaders if they were to get a victory here. But as it stands right now, it is 6 points behind them. Arsenal still top of the table. Let's hear from both managers speaking after the game.
First of all, I think it was a really proper London derby, really intense. You could sense from the beginning that every duel, every action has something on it. Two teams very willing to win, and not much football. It was a lot of restarts, a lot of free kicks, stops, a lot of yellow cards. So not a lot of fluidity. But after the sending off of Caicedo, obviously we wanted to settle the game. We didn't manage to do that. We had more yellow cards. We had 4 yellow cards.
11-11, I think we were a better team than them. We managed the game, we controlled the game, we create chances, and we didn't concede nothing. And then the red card changed a little bit the dynamic, but even with that, I think the way the players dealt with that has been outstanding.
I have this flavor that today we should have and we could have won the game, and we haven't, and that's a learning point from it.
Frank Leboeuf joining us now. Let me start with you, Craig, though. I want to pick up on what Maresca just said there. 11 against 11, we were the better side.
I wouldn't disagree with that. I think they looked a little bit more, without really, you know, flexing their muscles, they looked a little bit more controlled with 11v11. I thought Chelsea did a great job today. I thought they learned from the game at Man United, where they lost Sanchez very early on to a red card and they had a panic up. Maresca had a panic up, made all these changes when all they needed to do was keep a good shape against a poor United side. Today, the sending off was a little later when Caicedo was red carded, and deservedly so. But they didn't panic. They kept a good shape. They were defensively very strong. I was actually disappointed in Arsenal today, particularly when Caicedo goes. I was expecting more from Arsenal in the final third. When you're in the last 10 minutes of a game and the side with 10 men look as likely to score, although we saw that Gyökeres chance that was taken from his head by Timber, Chelsea still were a threat going forward with 10 men in the last 10 or 15 minutes. And that tells you all you need to know about their mentality. So I think they can be very pleased with the win at Burnley, beating Barcelona the way they did, and really rolling their sleeves up today with a man down for the best part of an hour and putting up a really good fight against the best team in England at the moment. So I think Chelsea will be happier with that, but we'll never really know. It was looking like it. I mean, Anthony Taylor took 5 or 6 minutes, I think, to eventually get his first yellow card out. But he had to, because it started at such a powder gig, Stevie, didn't it?
He got the first one out just in time.
The first couple of minutes, there was 2 or 3 challenges, wasn't there? And he tried to let it go.
Well, he tried to, but then eventually nobody was going to calm down because the game was so intense. And those challenges that were coming in, eventually somebody was going to get hurt. And so him bringing out the yellow... Now, it didn't change the intensity. Other than Caicedo, I would suggest that everybody was a little bit more careful, but certainly the intensity. And Chelsea, I was impressed with Chelsea big time. I think this game showed that Chelsea have taken a step forward. You know, a team that we weren't quite sure what we were going to get. Well, today, they've set the standard for themselves today. They showed us what they've got for up until the red card. They showed the intensity, the being brave, closing the ball down. You know, they did every single thing that you would wish. And then to go down to 10 men and then produce the performance they did as well. Craig said they looked as likely to score as Arsenal did at the end of the game. So they've now set a standard for themselves. And if they can achieve that standard every time they step on the field, then they could be a challenge for this title.
You've got to give the manager some credit, because and he hasn't obviously won the Conference League, and I'm not even going to say it.
We know. In the summer, they won
the
shiny trophy.
That tournament in the summer in the United States. But, you know, there's been other managers more experienced than him have had a pop at this Chelsea side. Now, there's one or two changes. Obviously, Esteval's come in and they've got a big squad. But he's gone in there, and as Stevie said, thus far he's taken them to another level where, you know, Frank was on last week and we were saying, well, this is going to be a gauge of where Chelsea are. Not beating Barcelona so much, because Barcelona have really struggled defensively and Araujo gets sent off. But if they could do something to Arsenal that not many others have done, certainly only really Sunderland this season, then that might be a better barometer of where they are. And I actually think today it was sent to the Chelsea players and the Chelsea manager. We can go toe-to-toe with most teams. But as I say, I think I heard in the commentary, 7 red cards in 15 games.
4th red card of the season.
And 1 for the manager recently as well. So you can't... That's going to drag you back like a giant parachute. I mean, there's just no getting away from it. And if you remember Arsenal, maybe 3 years ago, 4 years ago, their discipline was a problem with red cards. And they've kind of tidied that up. I think Chelsea need to tidy it up. But in terms of the performance and how they go about it, as Stevie said, they were pretty impressive today.
I mean, you do wonder, don't you, Frank, had they not received that red card and how costly it did end up being for them. When we saw how the game ended, could they have had a better result had they kept Caicedo on the pitch? And it was 11 against 11.
Well, as Craig said, you know, it's hard to say. Yeah, maybe, and we can hope that they could have a better result, because they did better than Arsenal. I think Arsenal lost 2 points, you know, playing 10 against 11. But otherwise, sometimes we didn't see the difference. We didn't see that Chelsea were 1 man less, and they worked so hard, and they were all together. I mean, the back line, and you can add Malo Gusto or Reece James, because sometimes they change positioning, and Sanchez. They were so strong. I think Chelsea showed today, as I said last week, and I was expecting that they got a little bit more mature in terms of games. Yes, in terms of discipline, they still have to grow. But what I saw today was a team capable of fighting against the best team in England, and maybe, certainly one of the best teams in Europe. What Bayern Munich wasn't capable of doing 11 against 11 against Arsenal, Chelsea was capable of doing it 10 against 11. They were capable of fighting against a team who know how to be aggressive in a good way, how to challenge the opponent, and Chelsea were even doing better than them. So it says a lot about the performance of the Blues. And as I say, at the end of the day, Enzo Maresca should be proud of what he did today with all the players, I think the Arsenal coach, should be upset about his team not being capable of getting the 3 points.
But they've still kept 5 points, haven't they, between them and City and 6 and Chelsea. So it's not, you know, it just wasn't. They didn't take advantage of a scenario that unfolded in front of them as good as they probably should have. I mean, Saka had that moment where he created the goal, where he dropped the shoulder, but Cucurella, who, you know, he looks, when you watch him, he's just extremely annoying, but he does a good job. I mean, he got booked early on, and then he still managed to get tight to Saka without crossing that line, which is very difficult.
I know. The thing with Arsenal, though, is, you know, as great as they've been and as good as they look, you've got to kill teams off. You can't, you know, if you want to win the title, you can't leave teams hanging around, and that's what they've done today. You know, I understand that 11v11, the intensity, it was great to watch. I mean, there wasn't a lot of fantastic football, but as a spectacle, I really enjoyed it.
Have you seen them that uncomfortable this season?
it's not uncomfortable that's bugging me. What's bugging me is when they equalised, I expected Arsenal to be fired up even more. You know, you get the equaliser, you're playing against 10 men. You should be absolutely driving at the opposition and hammering them into the ground and knocking the ball around quickly and getting advantage of the 10 men. Instead, you see Saka creating the first goal. He never saw the ball for about 10 minutes. Why don't you get him the ball? And then you've got Timber started getting in his way. So Saka then comes inside. Now, as I said, you've just gotten the goal from getting the ball to Saka, but then he doesn't get it. And then Madueke, this was too much for him. You know, this is a guy who, at Chelsea in particular, which is why Arsenal bought him, when he got the ball and he faced up with his opposition, he went after them. He looked scared today. It looked like it was too big. It was too big for him to step onto that Stamford Bridge field. And the biggest thing that annoyed me... The biggest thing, Frank, that annoyed me, was about 20 minutes to go. It's 1-1, you're playing against 10 men, and you're letting Chelsea walk out with the ball and knock it. The two centre-backs are knocking it side to side, and nobody's closing the ball. I mean, really? If you want to win the title, you've got to go and win it. Nobody's going to give it to you. And you're a man up, and you're standing off. That makes no sense to me at all.
Yeah, I agree with Stevie. I think the leaders, and I'm talking about Saka, about Eze, they were only, for me, the shadow of themselves today. We didn't really see them doing what they had to do and what they normally do. Eze was absolutely invisible at the point that Arteta substituted him. And defensively, except Declan Rice, who always is the right guy at the right place and do the right job. The others, nah, not so much. Well, the fact that Saliba and Gabriel didn't play, it's a big turning point as well. You have to consider that, with all due respect to Mosquera and Nketiah, but it's not the same. It's not the same duo. It's not the same level for me. So it says maybe why Arsenal, on especially set pieces, corner kicks, didn't get anything from there.
How big an impact is that, not having Saliba for this game?
Yeah, but they didn't have to do... I mean, there might have been a bit of bad marking from the goal, but they didn't have to do... I don't remember them making that many mistakes. I don't think that was their issue today. I think their issue was when Chelsea go down to 10 men, that Arsenal don't push on and take advantage of that. I don't think this has anything to do with two centre-halves being out. Because they took João Pedro off, don't forget, because once they go down to 10, he's not really getting much ball, and then Liam Delap comes on, he's a bit of a battering ram. So it was relatively comfortable for them in that respect. Although Chelsea did play a lot of good stuff, particularly in the middle of the park, the chances were few and far between. I don't think Arsenal drew today because they have their two main centre-halves out. Let's not forget, at times this season, I think Chelsea had something like 10 injuries, including a bulk of them in their back four. So they're not the only team, Arsenal, that are dealing with these issues. The problem today was, Frank touched on it, Eze didn't have that blistering game that he did in the North London derby. Bukayo Saka got very little change out of Cucurella. Lisandro Trossard, who does things differently and can just pop up with something special, is injured. And Martinelli's a one-trick pony. He likes to run in behind, and that space to run in behind wasn't there. So I agree with Frank. I think Declan Rice was the best player in the park. Again, Stevie and I were talking about this before we came on air. He's just a Rolls Royce at the moment, but it was other areas of the field. I mean, you bring Gyökeres on, and they got one really good ball into the box, which Timber got in his way. But if I'm bringing Gyökeres on, I'm not flapping around with the ball, with Stevie said at the back. I'm sticking it into my wide players. I'm getting half a yard. Don't have to beat my full-back. Half a yard, and I'm chucking it in there. And I'm asking the big guy to go and attack it. They didn't do that enough, and hence they only got a point. But it's a point maybe at the end of the season they'll take. But I think from Chelsea's perspective, from their perspective, it was a very good North London derby for them, considering the circumstances. I think from Arsenal's, as Stevie said, maybe at the end of the season they'll look back and say, Sunderland, we were in the lead and we chucked it away. Chelsea, and we had them hanging with 10 men and we did not take advantage.
This is definitely the one that will think that. The Sunderland one, I think, is just one of those. It's a team getting promoted. They're big and strong. It's a physical battle. Sunderland got a couple of rubs of the ball and they end up getting a couple of goals. This to me is different. This was a footballing issue. Why Arsenal didn't win this game. So if I'm Arteta, that's what I'm looking at. the football side of it, we should have beaten 10 men.
So big picture, Frank, what does this result mean for the title race? Are Arsenal still big favourites?
Yeah, they are, but they will have to prove it. They lost 4 points against Sunderland and Chelsea, and Man City is back. Chelsea is still there. We'll have the winter room right now, window right now, and it's going to start very soon. And let's see, even if they play one less game, I think it's always crucial. And if you miss the curve, you know, it can be on the final line in danger. So they should win the title. I think Chelsea is getting more mature, but not ready to win the title. We don't know about City. They can be inconsistent. So I think Arsenal is still the favorite, but I like the fact that we can still have a race and it's not given already after that game. 10 against 11. They should have gotten the 3 points, been, I don't know, 7 points ahead of the others. It's nice for the Premier League, I think.
Why, but you know, it really is theirs to go and win this year because, and if they don't, it's going to throw up more questions than answers, many more, because it's a decent version of City, but it's not the best. It's an evolving Chelsea side, but one that hasn't got over the line. It's very young, and it's certainly not the best version of Liverpool, by a long shot. So when you think about all that, the sides that are really the ones that are going to be in the horse race, and they are either struggling or we really are unsure about them. If Arsenal don't go over the line this year, that's going to be a psychological battering ram for them, isn't it? Because they are the strongest in this league at the moment by a stretch, in terms of the squad, in terms of the performance. But if somehow they chuck this away this year and they allow a City side that were flagging last year, or Chelsea who are young and naive, if they'll allow one of them, we know Liverpool are not going to win it, they're too far behind now. But if one of those others were to win it, I wouldn't like to be Mikel Arteta facing the questions.
No excuses. There really isn't. No. There's no excuses. Every department of this Arsenal squad, team, 11, bench, you name it, is as good or not better than every other team in the Premier League. So this 100% has to be the year. He looked upset.
Here's how things are looking in the table with that much-needed win for Liverpool, their first win in 4. As for West Ham, they are down in 17th after that. Not the result that they would have hoped for today. As for Liverpool, they're in the top half of the table, not where they would have expected to be by this point. But however, it is 3 points for them, and 3 points they really did desperately need.
Well, at least he doesn't have to talk about another Liverpool defeat.
No, he does not. He does not. Tell me about today, Stevie.
Today was the perfect game for Liverpool, away from home, against West Ham. You know, West Ham side that, in terms of going forward, it's Jared Bourne and nothing else. And so it was the perfect game for Liverpool. I mean, the fact that Alisson didn't have any saves to make, the fact that it's a clean sheet. I mean, every stat you want to listen to was there. That if you look at it on paper from a defensive point of view, it was fantastic. Never let no chances, no drama. That one little ricochet that went for Bourne at the end. But other than that, Liverpool really were in control of this game. And it was a case of when can they score? And for Isak to score, particularly the way he did, Craig said class, absolute class. 125 million, is it, worth of class? And then Gagpo makes it 2-0. So it's really a good result. All the things you want, but the real truth is they ain't playing West Ham every week.
No, but
you don't know if it was a good defensive display.
Yeah, you can't
or
tell.
It was just West Ham. But
you can't tell.
Whatever it is, it's a clean sheet. And we heard in the commentary, if you listened to the commentary, they'd lost so many goals, it was scary. Yeah. But I think he made all the right decisions today. He brought Gomez in because he's a defender, big defender, he wants to defend. Szoboszlai played on the right-hand side instead of Salah, because as Stevie said many times, you can drop Salah, but you don't have a like-for-like replacement.
Is that a big story, Salah being dropped?
Well,
no. Was anybody surprised?
No. I mean, it's a story that is Salah, but nobody's going to go... No, there's nobody batting an eyelid going, hey, Mo Salah was dropped today, because the Liverpool fans probably wanted him dropped. Because he's offered nothing, and when you're playing a guy who's not a wide player in his position, as Szoboszlai did, that tells you all you need to know. And what happened was Szoboszlai was eking in midfield a little bit because he's not a wide player. But they didn't have an Alexander-Arnold or anything to get forward. It was Joe Gomez. So they lost a little bit in that side, but they gained a bit more solidity in there. And I thought, particularly in the first half, Florian Wirtz, he looked quite sharp, actually. There was some nice, lovely little touches and 1-2s, and he got in behind. The problem was, once he got in behind, there was nothing really for him to play the ball into. So all in all, I thought it was considering Liverpool's predicament,
it's a start.
Considering people are actually talking about Arne Slot's job and how long will he last and who's going to take over and all this sort of stuff, it's a win's a win. But again, it was West Ham, and they're a pretty woeful side, particularly going forward. And the Paquetá thing, he should hang his head in shame. Because, by the way, that referee gave him enough time to step away once he'd booked him. Because he came back in the referee's face 2 or 3 times after the booking, and the referee wasn't going to do anything. Then he came back a 3rd time, and the ref was like, you've had your warnings, you're going. And if you're Nuno Espirito Santo, you must go into the dressing room, and you just want to tear his head off for being such an idiot.
What's your assessment today from Liverpool, Frank?
Well, even if Isaac scored a goal for 1 hour, it was appalling for me. And if I am Ekitike, my fellow compatriot, I must be very upset, because when he came on, we saw the difference. His involvement, his technique, what he does for the team, and the chances that he can create. I would be very upset because, okay, my price tag is less than Isaac, but my performances are better. So Isaac scored, yeah, good. That saves his performance, but that wasn't enough. And it was funny to see him being very surprised to be substituted, where that was only fair to Ekitike. Otherwise, yeah, I was happy to see Gomez going back. I saw the defense were better, but again, it's against West Ham, so you don't really know. And I agree with Craig. I think Fabian Wirtz is getting there. I'm pretty sure he's going to bring something. That guy has so much talent. You can see every time he touches the ball, there is something special is going to happen. And one day he's going to know how to play the Liverpool music, and he's going to be very, very, very good. And again, about Paquetá, I'm very sorry, but Paquetá, I think it's like he's saying to the referee, give me the red card, give me, you already gave me yellow card, show me if you have the guts to give me the red card. That guy, I'm sorry, he has so much talent, he's a great player, but he likes to argue with opponents, referees, and he goes too far, and the club should, or the Hammers fans should tell him something. Shut up, play, just show your talent. That was crazy. He killed the infinite chances maybe to Hammers to come back in that game. He killed them.
For Florian Wirtz, was it his best display in a Liverpool shirt?
We'll set a really low bar here, let's be honest. The fact that we're actually pulling out things to say nice things about Wirtz tells you that we want him to do well. And yes, today he got in positions where he was just a little bit off from being great. He should have scored, but he didn't. But we'll praise him for getting there and being part of the build-up. He's part of the build-up for the goal. He had another couple of little good passes and touches. But the fact that we're sitting here going, well, he was better today, that tells you how poor he's been and what his contribution's been. But it's the same as the result, it's the same as the performance, it's a start for Wirtz. And in terms of the Joe Gomez situation, the only reason Joe Gomez hasn't started before is because he's been injured. He hasn't been fit enough. Because Conor Bradley can't stay fit, Frimpong can't stay fit. Frimpong's a hybrid anyway. He's not really a fullback, he's not really a winger. So Joe Gomez would have been the obvious candidate to sit in at right back, but he hasn't been able to. But today, he was solid, but again, one game.
It's a good job he's got your mate in the team, Szoboszlai.
It is.
He's played right back, he'll play anywhere in the middle of the park, he's played a little wider on the right today, because he could have put Wirtz out there, but he's gone, will you go and do a job for me there, and I want to get Florian Wirtz in that more central role. So, players like him are worth their weight in gold. He's the captain of Hungary and all that sort of stuff, and, he works hard, and he's a good passer, he's a good all-round player. But you need people like that. The problem is, what does he do going forward? In the next few games, Arne Slot, does he stick with that? Or is Mo Salah knocking on his door? Because you've got a guy who's not played well, you've benched him, but do you continue to bench him? Because you're not, as Stevie said, playing West Ham every week, and you're paying him a king's ransom. So what?
He has to.
He has to what? Leave him on the bench?
Aye, yeah, he has to.
Are they better off without him right now?
Absolutely. Look,
he's offering nothing,
last week, I said it. You need to start from the back. You need the base to be right. You need to be solid. And you need to stop giving goals away. And you can't expect to score 3 and 4 goals every week to win a game. And so if he goes back and breaks that shape up, at least defensively, they were solid. Because it's always like, OK, he wasn't standing way out wide the way Mo does and just stands there and waits for the ball. He's getting involved, he's getting back inside, he's helping his full-back. So the whole shape defensively was miles better. And they're not going to get any better if they just all of a sudden go back to what they were doing and then teams start streaming through them again. You've got to look after the base, the solid structure that they had today. Yes, it's against West Ham, but it was a solid structure. There was no real drama. There was no running all over the place. There was no holes. So that's where you got to go from. So if he changes it and brings Mo Salah back against Sunderland, to me, that's a big
But
mistake.
Stevie, had Bowen scored the goal the last minute, it would have been another story. 10 against 11 against West Ham. You draw.
It would have been
and
an
it would have been
injustice,
another
Frank.
crisis.
Yeah, it would have been an injustice. I mean,
Of course,
100% deserve to
Of
win
course.
the game, and you know, sometimes it goes way, sometimes it goes against you, but you know,
It shows you how things change in football so quickly. Because last year we saw Van Dijk was another one with the contract situation, but Mo Salah was the kind of real big story, and it was like, you have to give him the money. You've got to sign him. You can't let him go to Saudi Arabia. You've got to give him this money. You've got to back up the truck, fill his truck up. You've got to give him the money because he's so important. And then we're not even at Christmas, and he's out the side. Yep. I mean, that's just how quickly things can change for a manager and for a player.
So, comeback win from Manchester United, and they take all 3 points away from Crystal Palace. Your thoughts on that, Craig?
Yeah, they were better in the second half, and you know, 2 bad goals to lose from a Palace perspective. I mean, there's just no way, you know, Xerxes should be scoring from there. It's as simple as that. I mean, we could put the gloves on and save that. I mean, he's almost in the goal line. And then the referee blew the whistle and Henderson wasn't in position. He was still trying to mess about with the wall. He was unhappy, and then the referee blows the whistle. They shift it, the wall breaks up and he gets beaten. So I think it's a big response from United after the debacle against Everton, and it was. But I think there's a long way to go, isn't it? It's a bit like Liverpool. Gone to West Ham, dug out a result. United have gone to a better team in Palace, and they've ground out a result. I was going to say scored a couple of good goals, but they weren't good from a Palace perspective. Again, Amorim seems to be one of those managers, to me, a bit like Ten Hag was towards the end, or maybe not even towards the end, that he was just getting enough results to keep him afloat, to keep the wolves from the door. It certainly is at the moment, and I would put that one in a category like this. The other bonus for them was Martinez came back, Lisandro Martinez, after the long absence with the cruciate. Ironically, it happened at Palace, or against Palace, so he came back on in the second half, so that was, I don't know if you call it a bonus for them or not, the way he sort of goes around sometimes. But yeah, from Ruben Amorim's perspective, he had to get a result, and they got what they needed.
It's a big win for them there, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's a big win, and you know, sometimes you, when things go for you, you just grab a hold of them and take them. It's not Man United's fault that they've scored a couple of goals that 100% could have and should have been avoided from the Crystal Palace point of view. At the same time, the game could have been done at half-time. I mean, we showed Nketiah taking goodness knows how long with that opportunity. Mateta had a one-on-one as well, put wide, that he should have scored. I mean, it could have been 3 at half-time. The game could have been done, but on the credit side, United came back. And then by the end of the game, actually, we're the better side. So, you know, when things go for you, you take them gladly. Because you see what happened to them against Everton at Old Trafford, went against them. So, yeah, credit to them. Stuck at it and got 3 points.
Quite the bounce back, Frank, who's back with us.
Yeah. That's a good 3 points for Manchester United, and Crystal Palace have been the devil of many teams that they played against this season. I mean, Liverpool can witness that, Chelsea as well. It's always hard to play against Crystal Palace, and Stevie said, you know, half-time it could have been 3-0. So I wouldn't say Manchester United were lucky. I think Crystal Palace were clumsy, And even the first penalty, I mean, I don't like to make fun of one of my compatriots, you know, I prefer to make fun of English people, but today I have to talk about Mateta, because really, how can you, kicking your right foot, if you don't slip, touch your left foot? You have to put your left foot on the wrong position, that's for sure, or having two big feet. I don't know, that's very strange. I was laughing at it. I think it's for me, I don't know, shot maybe 50 penalties. It's impossible to do what Mateta did, that's for sure. Good for him, he scored the second one. Good for him, they changed the rule last summer, so that's a good thing for him. But that was
It's impossible
funny,
to do.
let's
It's impossible to do what Mateta did that they changed the law for because Julian Alvarez did it.
I thought he was going to sing the hokey cokey there.
And by the way, he's definitely got big feet. I would imagine a guy who's about 6'5" isn't a size 4 shoe.
No, absolutely not. Well, there you go. 3 points for Manchester United. And welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time. We've got a fancy new studio today. We've got Craig and Stevie and Frank. Is it fancy? You like it?
The table's a little...
It's a bit wee for all the sheets.
And the big question is, did they shuffle us up here because we were on ABC and they wanted some fancy backdrop, or are we moving studio because it's a bit of a trek, isn't it?
Aye, we want to go back.
It's a bit of a trek from where our desks are.
Yeah, bit of a walk.
I've had to park the car over the other side as well.
You could have just walked back over. It's good for you to get all those steps
I'm going to have to
in.
get in the car, go back round, take my jacket, hang it.
Where's he going to eat his lunch? Where's he going to eat his dinners?
Yeah.
He was over there earlier.
He sat over there with me, Kristen.
On his own.
Yeah, OK. I hope that the bosses are watching and they've heard don't like the new
Well, there was so much money went into the other studio, I think I'm not being sarcastic. It's a nice studio.
OK. Frank's joining us
And
now.
it's a better desk than this, isn't it?
Frank, thanks for being with us. What do you think of our new studio?
It looks like you've been punished, guy, and they put him in a smaller studio. You know, the other one was bigger.
Do you know that one we used downstairs? What's the one we used downstairs near the radio?
Yeah.
This is kind of akin to that, with the crappy little desk. It's just got a bigger area behind us.
We used to say it D for dungeon because it is
the dungeon.
Yeah, Studio D. All right, first question: did Slot find the ideal position for Wirtz, number 10, with Gomez right back? Where does Salah fit in?
Oh, he's really stumbled on that,
over Gakpo.
Because he didn't know that before, did he?
Oh, let's sign the 125 million number 10. I wonder where he plays.
Oh, devil. Shall we fit him in the middle?
Let's play him at right back. I know what they mean. He found the right position. Is he going to, where's he going to be most effective? And I think ultimately that's where he's going to be. And in some way, it's just timing for players, isn't it? In a sense that if Florian Wirtz had stepped into this Liverpool team last year, it would probably have been a breeze. Because McAllister, all right, somebody would have had to have dropped out. But McAllister, Szoboszlai and Gravenberch, particularly McAllister and Gravenberch, were just dominating games. Dominating games, middle of the park. Liverpool were smothering teams and he would have probably had a ball. But unfortunately for him, he stepped in to a side that have surprisingly struggled. And with that, he struggled. So, timing.
Something we didn't get to in the main show is what you were saying about Cody Gakpo, like consistently at a certain level.
Yeah, look, he might not have the skill set of some of the other players or the numbers, but
you know what you're getting, right?
He works hard. He's well over 6 foot, so he's got a good physicality. He scores goals, gets in at the back post, always pops up in the right place. He's pretty composed in front of goal. He's generally always a 7 or an 8 out of 10. 7 out of 10. He might not, he might not be a 9 or a 10 like some of them sometimes, but I like him. You can trust him. You know what I mean? You can trust him to work hard, and you can trust him to pop up with goals and assists, and that's at this moment in time, in particular, it's invaluable.
Can you trust Liverpool to build on this?
No.
That answers that then.
Absolutely not.
Stevie, Slot finally started Joe Gomez, and the difference is clear. Could Liverpool call back Tsimikas in hopes of strengthening the back line? Tsimikas?
No, Tsimikas is... Yeah. Tsimikas came to Liverpool as a younger player and was hoping that he would develop and flourish into a world-class player, and that didn't happen. And so the answer to that is no. And the Joe Gomez situation I was saying on the show, the only reason he hadn't started previously is because of injury. And you can't rely on him to be fit for the next game either. Unfortunately, Arne Slot, in terms of his back line, on the left-hand side, he's got one player that's on the other end of his career, and he's got a young player in Kerkez who has not settled at all, is still a little frightened of his surroundings, and so that's not working. On the right-hand side, you've brought in Frimpong, who's not actually a right back, but he's not a right winger. He's kind of an in-betweener. You've got Conor Bradley, who can't stay fit. You've got Joe Gomez, who can't stay fit. And you've only got two centre-backs in Van Dijk and Kanate. So if anything goes wrong, Arne Slot's hands are tied, basically. But the Joe Gomez one, as I said, is because he was injured. But
is Kerkez the same scenario as Wirtz? I think it's maybe slightly different.
No.
That Wirtz is stepping into the side who are struggling, but we know Wirtz has played at the highest level in the big arenas for Germany and Bayer Leverkusen, whereas Kerkez has come into a back four in a team that are struggling. But it looks to me as if it's the move that's he's struggling with from provincial club like Bournemouth, great little club, into that arena. I think it's more nerves with him.
100%.
Expectation.
If you watch him, his first thought at Liverpool is to go back. You watch him at Bournemouth, everything he did was about going forward. And so just watch how he plays the game. He's unsure. And so when you're unsure, you play the safe game. And the safe game, when you're facing the field, the safe ball is to either go sideways or go back to Van Dijk. And he does that 9 times out of 10. It's absolutely the opposite of what he was doing at Bournemouth.
Frank, we will get to you in a minute, but there's a lot of questions for Stevie, as you can imagine today, given the fact that Liverpool got themselves a win.
Won again, hallelujah.
Stevie, oh, actually, it's nothing to do with Liverpool. Stevie, when you're at an American Thanksgiving with 45 people, how many of them know that you're a football legend? Kind of to do with Liverpool.
Well, my son and his wife have been married now for 10 years. And I've been going there every year for 10 years. So if they don't know yet, they're never going to know.
Do they all ask you to tell old stories of your playing days?
No, not at all. They don't care. They don't care. They only care that if I'm the partner at beer pong that we win, and which we did win. Yeah. Well, actually,
by the end
2 games, 1 win, 1 loss.
By the end of the night, the story can sound a little...
Yeah.
I can imagine.
I said, most of them can't understand a word I say. It's just nod their head. Sorry, fun.
Frank, in a game publicised, Rice versus Caicedo, Reece James was the best midfielder. How many players have you guys seen play multiple positions at a top level like James is right now?
Well, we have Szoboszlai, for Liverpool right now, playing everywhere on the right side. But it's true, I think Dan Petrescu was doing that a little bit, on the right side. He was capable of being right back, but also, I would say in the middle of the park, and also a right wing, kind of, even if we didn't play like that. But not too many players that I've seen were capable of doing that. That's pretty amazing from Reece James.
Steve and I were talking about him before we came on air. A lot of it's to do with fitness for him, isn't it? Because he had a spell where he couldn't keep himself fit. But he's pretty much got everything. He's big and he's strong and he's tidy on the ball and he's a very good passer. But I actually think, as an all-round midfielder, Declan Rice is the best. You could argue he's the best all-round midfielder in Europe at the moment. We'd walk into any team, Real Madrid, Barca, any team in Italy, any team in Germany, any team in England. In terms of, does everything. He's really gone to another level, hasn't he?
Yeah,
incredible.
In terms of James, though, I think it suits him being in there. I think part of his problem when he played fullback was those long runs. I think that was his problem in terms of his injuries. But he's such a good footballer. He's such a sharp brain. He's so cool and calm on the ball. I think he's much better in the middle than he is at fullback anyway.
Do you know what I quite liked about him today? I know he's the captain, he can talk to the referee, but and I'm talking about both teams here. I don't know about you, but sick and tired of the feigning of injury, right?
There's a lot of that today.
And a lot of little silly challenges and players going down looking for other players to get booked. He always just approached the referee. There was no gesticulating, there was no shouting. It was like a hand of it, just a quiet word. And that's kind of how he goes about his business. And while everybody else, Caicedo and Fernandes and Cucurella and some of the Arsenal guys, they were doing it as well. You know, trying to get people booked. And he was sort of talking to Anthony Taylor in a calm way. And I thought that was pretty classy.
Next question, Craig and Frank. How do you account for the drastic difference in the success of Chelsea's club rebuild to that of Man United? Is it fan expectations, managerial impatience, poor scouting strategy, or Sir Alex Ferguson's aura that ominously hangs over the club?
Well, I'll quickly go to Frank, because Chelsea have signed better players.
Go on, Frank. Oh, he can't hear me.
Frank, can you hear? No? Frank?
Frank can't hear
Frank,
us.
can you hear?
No.
Frank, you're gorgeous. Yeah. He'll reply to that.
Yeah.
He can't hear.
Oh, he definitely can't. If he doesn't reply to that,
All right, we're going to get him back.
There has been some sort of... No, leave him. There has been some sort of...
We can usually hear
Why would you get him back?
There has been some sort of scattergun approach, so I thought you could put up the argument, well, if you sign enough players, you're going to have success at some point. They've obviously changed
that one wrong.
Huh?
United proved that one wrong.
No, because they just kept throwing bad money after bad money, didn't they? So I think it does come down to recruitment. I think there's still a fair ways to go. Then it comes down to your recruitment of your managers. You know, Tuchel got fired, Pochettino got fired, Potter got fired. At the moment, Maresca's in the hot seat and he's doing a better job on the face of it than the others. But yeah, I mean, thus far, going after these younger players and sort of maturing them as you go along is having a reasonable effect thus far. They're certainly going to ruffle a few feathers this year.
Yeah, just as we saw today. I wonder if we've got Frank back. Oh, he's back. Frank, do you understand the question? Big difference, yeah.
I hear you, and I saw the question. How do you account for the drastic difference of the sex? I'm not sure I understand the question, but the question is, I think it's always very hard to change the tactic what you want to do in the football business, and especially when you are in the aura of winning everything like Manchester United did and Chelsea did just after. When you want to change and drastically change the thought of what's have been a success, it takes time. And it's always been like that, and I've seen that with Marseille, I've seen that with Lyon, I've seen that with Paris Saint-Germain as well, and you can see that in Italy as well is going on. So it takes time, but I don't know what you have to do for that. The only thing is I know that you have to be patient.
All right. Last question. It's actually something you brought up in the main show, Craig. What's the percentage chance that Atletico or Villarreal win La Liga this season?
I think slim, but there is definitely a potential opportunity with the way that the big two have their frailties. You know, Alonso's under a bit of pressure with their style and the results. Barcelona, they had a good result against Alaves, but they got walloped by Chelsea. I mean, smashed by Chelsea. All their problems came back to haunt them. It's whether Villarreal and Atletico Madrid, who are the only two that have got a viable chance, really, it's whether they can go the distance and the other two don't get better. But I always think it's nice for a league. It's a bit like Scotland. You know, Hearts have been going well in Scotland at the moment, but it's been 40 years since anybody out with the old firm Rangers and Celtic have won the league. And I always think it's refreshing when somebody else does. I know it's been sooner than that in Spain because Atletico Madrid have won the league, but usually it is the big two. But I think it's maybe only a 10 or 15% chance that one of them could do it, but it's definitely doable. If you watch Barca and Real every week as we do, you wouldn't be frightened.
No, almost every game they play, there's a possibility that they might have either dropped points or gotten beaten. So, well, that's going on. Somebody needs to try and take advantage of it.
Yeah, let's see if they can step up and be counted. Thank you so much for sending in your questions today. Thanks to the panel for answering them. Make sure to join us tomorrow. Can't hear me? Okay. Yeah, sorry, we're going to have to go. Craig can't hear anymore. Frank, thanks for being with us. Safe travels, Frank. You're coming over to see us soon. It won't be this lovely studio.
Bye-bye, guys.
By the sound
Is this temporary?
I think so.
I'm happy.
If it was going to be, I knew, and I don't think it is anymore after what you guys have had to say about it.
Well,
Frank, we'll see you soon. Safe travels. Make sure to join us tomorrow for more of the same. Dan will be back.
Hopefully he's dressed up this. I mean, I know he's had a lot on his plate, but you can't come in with joggers on.